is Cheyenne, and welcome back to EnGen TV. Engaged generation, youth transforming the world. Today, we're going to be having another episode of Creek Conversations, where our own panel is going to be sharing more about God and how He's impacted their lives. I hope you enjoy, and you might even see how God's impacted your life.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Creek Convos. This is actually going to be our final episode, and I couldn't be more excited to have this guest on. He's a familiar face to the Apple Creek community, on a larger scale, the Adventist community. And for those who are not familiar with the church community, this is my good friend, Aaron Manswell. We're so excited to have him on, and our conversation tonight is what we do every week. For Creek Convos, we talk about lifestyle, we talk about a specific subject, and there's also a spiritual piece where we get to hear our guests talk about how God is moving in their life and the impact that He has. So just want to welcome Aaron to the show tonight. Aaron, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. Thank you so much for having me. I'm just excited to talk and share and, with my good friend Daniel. So go ahead.
Super excited to have you on tonight, just solely based on the fact that I figured, you know what, you'd be a good person to have a conversation with and get people to know you a little bit. So talk to me and the viewers tonight. When you're not working, what are some of your interests? What do you like to do? What keeps you busy? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Some of my interests, as a lot of people know, I'm very sports oriented. So anything to do with sports, the playing of it, the watching it on, of course, TV. I'm also into a lot of just like board games and stuff too, right? So as you can tell, there's like a very competitive theme here. So I'm into a lot of board games. I'd say probably my favorite board game would probably be chess. Like I love chess. That's like my thing,
Monopoly.
right? Oh, Monopoly?
I was waiting for you to say Monopoly or something like that.
Oh no, no, man. Because I'm a thinker, so chess is like the perfect game for me.
Right.
And so so I'd say between those two things, and then of course like creating, just always creating something, whether it's music, whether it's just anything, period. So yeah.
Love it, bro. So obviously now, I don't know how close of attention you've been paying, but the cases are just dropping rapidly in this little virus that they call COVID-19. Talk to me about your COVID experience. Did you have any challenges? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, man. Challenges is putting it mildly. I had to relocate all the way across North America. So I was in Memphis. I was about to complete my my master's in music composition, and the pandemic hit. I would say around what was it? I think it was the end of March when it got like official, and so I was going to graduate within the next few months in May, and then ended up having to sell all my things, pack up my apartment. Because where I was working, they couldn't guarantee that I was going to be able to, or they're going to be able to, keep me on going forward out there. So it just the safe thing to do was just to pack up real quick and come home. And so just imagine having to go on Facebook Marketplace and just put all your things there within the week and drive 14 hours all the way back from Memphis to Toronto by yourself. And it was a very challenging experience. And then coming home and having to basically start all over again. So, there's just been little things here and there that's keeping me going. And yeah, I'm just lucky to have family and friends that really care about the situation and push me forward. So yeah, it's been very challenging though.
Interesting. COVID has just been such a crazy season for so many people. There's positives to take from it, but there's so many negatives too as well. I thought it was important. I ask all my guests to come on to talk to me a little bit about their their COVID experience. And obviously moving from Memphis to Toronto is a challenge in itself. Just kind of managing the logistics of that and whatnot. But really appreciate you sharing. So like when you look at your regular day to day right now, and obviously things are starting to settle down and normalize a little bit. What's taking the majority of your time? What would you say occupies the most portion of your day with respect to just lifestyle?
Lifestyle, well, definitely just because, I'm a creator, so I would say definitely writing something.
Okay.
Yeah, creating something of some sort, whether it's something to do with an orchestra or something to do with just producing something, of like the R&B genre or hip hop or stuff like that. And but then I also, on the side, to just create some income for myself as well. I've just been giving lessons,
Okay.
piano lessons and composition lessons. So I would say those two things right now, the majority of my day.
Okay.
Yeah, and of course when that's finished, like sports.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
When I need to find you, I know where I can find you, especially during the sporting. The
Yeah.
Twitter mobile app and the sports
Yeah.
game in tandem with each other, right? That's like your brand. Really appreciate you sharing that with me. But tell me, seeing that we're on that, obviously that tandem there, what's one aspect of you that a lot of people wouldn't know? Share with me a little secret, some behind the scenes info that people wouldn't know about you.
Oh, well, I think I kind of touched on it earlier. Like, yeah, I'm just really into that game of chess. Like, I kind of
Okay.
over COVID, it kind of just resurfaced. Like, I was introduced to it as a kid.
Okay.
Um, I was introduced to it as a kid and played it, I would say until maybe I was like, I don't know, 12, 13, and then stopped. And then all of a sudden just COVID came and a whole bunch of things just resurfaced. So I
Right.
ended up I ended up going on Amazon, finding this really, really nice chess set and just kind of, got it and everything and it made life make sense again.
Love it, bro. Love it. That's
Yeah,
awesome. So I mean,
yeah.
you're the guy to play when the chess wars start up. You got to hit up Aaron for a little battle.
Let me know, man. I can. Yeah.
All right, man. I'm with it. So talk to me about some influences in your life. Who would you say is the biggest influence in your life? And what advice would you give to your younger self?
Man, biggest influence?
Yeah.
I mean, I would say the person that definitely had the most impact, of course, on my upbringing would be my mom.
Okay.
And, for obvious reasons. And, just because, yeah, she had a hand in a lot of what me and my brother listened to, on the way to school
Yeah.
or what we did on weekends in terms of like spirituality and stuff like that. And yeah, just a lot of like what discerning from what was right and wrong and how to treat people, how to conduct yourself in public, all that stuff was, from her. And then of course like my grandma and stuff like that too. Sorry, what was the other
The second
question?
question was, what advice would you give to your younger self? You know what? We're old men now, so what
Oh,
advice would the younger version of yourself?
I would say probably embrace the things that, well, not embrace, be more confident about the things that other people weren't exactly interested in,
Mhm.
bring that to the forefront, because
Yeah,
those are the things that really make you
who you are.
stand out and who you are, right? Because a lot of people have like very, very similar interests, but then what really makes you stand out is the fact that you're confident about what you're only interested in. So
Right.
that probably be and then another one would probably be like, just chill out, like don't worry about stuff, it's gonna work out.
All right.
Because
Give me some
I'm a
Matthew
very
there.
yeah, like I'm the kind of person I need to know what's happening like right after, in sequence and stuff. And so for me it was just, if I could tell myself something, it'd probably be like, yeah, keep working hard, but then also just chill out and just watch God take care of the rest.
I love that, bro. Love that. The not worrying, the minus the anxiety, and just kind of living your life and trusting that God's working things out for you. So let's
Yeah.
transition a little bit to music. Let's talk about music. I know you're so passionate about the music scene and composition and things of that nature. So where did that all stem from? Tell me a little bit about that. Where did your interest in music stem from?
Boy, man, like I remember being 4 years old, 5 years old, growing up in my grandma's house, and we had this cassette tape of Kirk Franklin and the Family, his very, very first live recording.
Okay.
And so we used to, it was every Friday night, my brother and I, we used to grab a Kleenex box and a pencil because that was how we would play drums along with that Kirk Franklin live recording. And the reason why we chose that is because like it had like a really, really good sound. And like if you're a producer out there, like it had the snare sound that came from the Kleenex box, it was second to none. And so just watching him do his thing and how much he loved what he was doing, we even got like dressed up in our church clothes and stuff just to watch him do what he was doing and play along with what he was doing. And that was every Friday night. And so I would say it started from there. And then it kind of catapulted into my mom, actually getting us drumsticks.
Wow.
And then the drumsticks came with the drum pad as well. And then of course, like by the time I was 8, she ended up putting me in piano lessons, and it kind of catapulted from there. But I would say it's definitely those like Friday night sessions watching Kirk Franklin.
Love it, bro. That's an interesting story. Just throwing it back. Shout out to Jordan, by the way. Jordan's brother, who also has the music gene too as well. Love you sharing that with me. So I know you have a master's in music, specifically in composition. Talk to a little bit of the viewers tonight. What goes into composition and how do you approach it? Walk us through maybe high level. How you put a piece together and your methods to that.
Man, so I guess I can start off by saying that the way I started off writing music wasn't through using like sheet music and scores and all that kind of stuff. It was through, just pulling up something on my computer, finding out how to make beats, and getting all those ideas that I had out. I was listening to stuff on the radio, and I'm like, I think I can do this too. So let me see if I can do it. Then I went to college at Oakwood, and then they had this program where it's combining both those things of making beats, but then also learning how to score out whatever you're hearing and stuff. That's how I kind of really got into writing for like live instruments. And so once you're writing for live instruments, it's better if you use a score so that everybody in a large ensemble is on the same page. That's the main reason for the score. And so when you're writing for those instruments, it's best to know like their ranges. It's best to know how they function. What does the trumpet bring? This type of emotion, it's very, very loud, right? Does the flute bring this kind of emotion? It's very soft. So learning how to combine all those colors together and all those textures together is what really makes it unique, because every composer has a different way of using those instruments. Right. And so my degree was just learning how to figure out what my sound is, what my what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, what my sound is and what it is that I want to say as far as writing for these instruments.
Hello, my name is Cheyenne, and you're watching EnGen TV.
We are people, and we love to get connected. We connect as families because of birth. We connect as friends because we click. And we connect as communities because we care. Seventh-day Adventists are people who connect in communities called congregations, which in turn connect to form conferences, who connect together to form unions, divisions, and the General Conference. Why do we connect? It starts with a connection to the Creator, who invites us on a spiritual journey. When we journey together, we can help each other along the way. This journey is a journey of a lifetime, and as we learn and grow, life becomes filled with meaning and purpose. Our greatest joy is in helping others along the way. Wherever you are on your journey, we believe that we have something to offer that can make your life more whole. So the next time you see a Seventh-day Adventist, remember, you're not looking at someone who stands alone. They are connected to a world church that has 18 million members, gathered in 13 divisions, comprised of 122 unions, formed by 600 conferences, serving in 140,000 congregations in 208 countries, who worship in 924 languages, and they all want to connect with you.
You must be watered daily. Do you sometimes forget to pray and feed on the Word of God? When that happens, we are spiritually wilted and cannot reflect the glory God intends. Like my plants, I need the daily drenching of the Holy Spirit through daily prayers to sustain me through the day. That was an excerpt from one of our contributors. The Apple Creek Women's Devotional, Women and Elohim, is filled with beautiful lessons and stories that I know you will be blessed and refreshed by. Are you interested in purchasing a copy? No problem. Email us at acwomen.speak@gmail.com.
I recall as a student, we would begin our days with this, saying this pledge: by the grace of God, I commit myself to excellence in all I say and in all I do. And this is a pledge that has stuck with me. This is a pledge that I continue to use day by day. And it didn't mean as much to me as I was a student, because I think sometimes it's easy to become accustomed to things and take it for granted when you're in a particular environment for so long. But it's something that, in reflecting back to my years at Crawford, I'm reminded of the fact that as Christians, as students, as leaders, we are called to be committed to excellence. We are called to show forth the excellence of the God that we serve in everything that we do. So I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to be a student at Crawford, and I'm grateful for the way that Crawford has shaped and molded me and reminded me continually of the commitment to excellence.
Leadership.
Community.
Spiritual.
Safety.
Fabulous.
Love.
Christian.
Awesome.
You all are watching EnGen TV. Engaged generation, youth transforming the world.
So like in COVID, were you able to work on any musical compositions? Anything notable that you had in the pipeline that you were able to bring to life in COVID?
Yeah, so man, it was tough because I actually began working on a gospel project, and it was, so I actually began that, but then of course gospel involves corporate singing, and so that had to be shut down because of the COVID restrictions, and hopefully you're going to pick that back up when it's over. And so because of that, I figured, what's something I can do remotely? And so I figured that, there's this sound pack that I downloaded and paid a lot of money for, and it's combined with the scoring software that I use to score out the stuff or whatever, and I'm using it, and it sounds like super real, and I'm like, man, is there a way that we can combine that with like NBA basketball and highlights and stuff like that? And so I ended up trying to score to my favorite NBA highlights growing up, right? Trying to write orchestral soundtracks to those highlights, to really mimic all those accents, mimic all the big points, all the stuff like that, and really trying to make it sound like very theatrical. And so that's where I came up with all these those NBA compositions, and and that was just me being bored during COVID.
Right. Yeah, but you're able to cook up something special, like I obviously have seen some of those videos on your Instagram, specifically the Kawhi one that I thought did really, really well in terms of engagement and like comments and all that good stuff. So clearly you were the mad scientist composing a few things. So shout out to you for that. So talk to me generally about the industry. What would you say is some of the biggest challenges in the music industry right now, in your own personal opinion?
The biggest challenges, that's a good question. I would say, excuse me, if you're a new artist, I'm actually kind of working with a new artist right now,
Okay.
and trying to develop whatever his sound is as well. But a big part of being an artist, period, is touring, right?
Okay.
You make a lot of money from your shows. You make a lot of money from selling merchandise at the shows. A lot of people interact better with just a live presence, period. And so not
Right.
being able to have that live presence is really, I think, kicking a lot of artists and their brand and stuff like that. So it's like you have to be really, really good at your social media presence these days. So that's the biggest challenge I think I see right now.
Okay. And my last question for this segment is, talk to the viewers tonight that have taken some time on their Friday evening to watch this. Talk to us about what your long-term goals are musically. Like, where do you see yourself? What are the goals that you're trying to accomplish?
Man, it's so many to name, man. Like, there's so many to name. Just because I'm a person, I'm a musician that is interested in the industry side of things, but I also care about the educational side of things. And I see like a whole bunch of gaps in the educational side of things. But then it's also hard trying to balance those two things. So it's almost like I want to be able to have a huge impact in both of those areas. But then of course you want to win all the awards, you want to win like the Grammys and the Junos and stuff like that. So yeah, I would say in a nutshell, it's just to be able to be successful in both the industry side of things and then the educational side of things.
All right, I can appreciate that. So let's talk a little bit about spirituality. If it's one thing we do on Creek Convos is there's a spiritual segment, and we get to kind of peel back the layers of the individual and have them talk a little bit about their spiritual life. So how would you describe your spiritual life currently? How would you discuss that with someone?
I would say it's interesting, and
That's cool.
I'm saying it's interesting because it's not in the best place right now, man. Like that's the honest truth. It's almost like when I was growing up, I would say that was the best time for me to be spiritual. It was the best time for me spiritually. I talked to God every day. We knew exactly where each other was. We were on like just like a every day, every hour, every minute kind of basis.
Really?
And now, life has gotten a lot more busy, which isn't an excuse, but certain things happen to you and you just start questioning a whole bunch of things about God, right? And, you start kind of blaming him for certain things. And the reality is you kind of have to remind yourself, well, it's not really his fault. Like, he's just kind of allowing this because he sees the bigger picture. And you just have to be able to trust that. And so it gets harder and harder to me to do that as you get older, which is weird because it feels like it's supposed to be the opposite way around because you've been knowing him for so much longer.
Right.
Weird place.
That's a fair. Like, I love your transparency. That's what Creek Convos is about. We want you to be honest. We don't want you to fib or say something that's not necessarily true. But you did reference childhood and kind of that early teens age, and like for those who don't know Aaron, he grew up in the church. Your mom was a teacher in the Adventist school system. I believe still is a teacher in the Adventist school system. Can you talk to me a little bit about Christian education and how that shaped you in terms of your perspective on life and just kind of approaching your friendships and relationships?
Yeah, so Christian education is it's a great way to I would say set a foundation of morals, of ethics, of work ethic. It's a great way to foster great relationships because those schools are generally smaller and a lot more family oriented. So you grow up kind of having that sense of family and kind of having that sense of, okay, I know this person really well, so I can trust them. So you end up trusting people a lot. Well, I can't say a lot more because my only experience outside of Christian education would have been just now when I graduated from the master's program. But yeah, I guess I'm like the best. I guess I'm more suited to talk about just the Christian education side of things. And yeah, I would say it's good for those things. But then, man, I'm being honest to you as well.
Yeah.
This past like 2 years, at my first school outside of Christian education, made me question a lot of things about Christian education too.
Yeah.
You know, um, and just being able to be outside of that for a while, and I'm not sure this is the right place to even mention those things, but I do think that even though you go to a Christian school, I think it's good to have a balance of what else is outside of those confines too.
Right. No. Like, I mean, obviously, I'm an advocate of that balance too, as well. I've had Christian education, I've
Yeah,
had public education, and I can see how they can work together.
yeah,
Even for who may disagree, I would like to say I came out pretty good on the other side. So, um,
yeah,
I'm not a skeptic of the public school system too, as well. But I'm also, I've
yeah.
seen a lot of great things from the Christian education system. Like, so
Oh
much
yeah,
better in terms of really laying that framework of spirituality, in terms of really approaching life and your relationships and friendships. So definitely give a salute to the Christian education system. And one of the interesting things about your journey is you did go to away for school. And I'm not talking about Memphis, I'm talking about Oakwood. Talk to
Oakwood,
me
yeah.
about how your spirituality, your spiritual journey, spiritual relationship was while being away from home. Were you able to develop a spiritual relationship, or like what did that look like?
Yeah, I think Oakwood, to as well, to their credit, does a really good job of providing avenues for their students to uphold uphold a healthy relationship with
Oh,
God. Whether it's the worships that take place almost on a nightly basis throughout the dorms, whether it's the AY programs that happen on the Friday nights, and then there's the church right there and stuff like that. My spirituality, I think it did grow, but then because there was a lot of it there and stuff like that, I think it was a good chance for me to just kind of see what I wanted, but then also know when to kind of back off, and 'cause- yeah, just kind of create that balance too, right? And then I was also like in the choir that travels all the time and stuff like that, and so we got to perform in different venues that people didn't really know about God there as well. We went to like Russia, we went to
oh wow.
um, the UK and stuff like that, and I ministered to people that didn't really um, know about Adventism yet. Well, not only Adventism, but just Christians period. And yeah, that stuff changes you, man. It makes you really, really want to learn more about your spiritual life. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. No, that for sure. Like I can only imagine what being away from home, and having to kind of lean and trust completely in God from a relational standpoint. So I know my first question to you was how do you describe your spiritual life, and you said that it isn't the greatest, and I appreciate your transparency with that.
Mhm.
But what would you say are the biggest challenges right now in your relationship with God? Without giving out too much detail, what would you kind of say? Like lack of faith? Is it doubt? Try and keep it as general as possible. We got a lot of viewers watching.
Yeah. Oh man. Listen, my biggest issue. Oh man, I'm already starting off on the wrong foot.
No,
I'd say I'd say my biggest challenge is just kind of figuring out like what God I like, just perception, my perception of God, right? And just
mm,
questioning why he allows certain things to happen, of course, but
of
then
course,
but
common
but
one.
then but then but then just questioning like your own mortality, man. Like
Mm,
it's a very like out of body experience. And just like, because again, I told you I'm a thinker, so I'm thinking about, okay, so what happens like after we're finished here on Earth? Like, are we going to like outer space? Are we gonna live forever? Like, what's like? I'm really questioning all those things. I'm doing research on those things,
yep.
and just stuff like that. And you're just like, okay, well, why do we only get like 85 years of life on average? Why don't we get 150? Why do some people get 25? Why do other people get 75? Like just all those things.
All the
It's just
inner
like,
working.
yeah. So that stuff makes you really question your entire relationship, period.
Yeah. No. That's more than enough. You know, like there's so many times you question, you know, why certain things happen. And you wonder, you know, what God's doing up there. But, you know, we all know that he has a plan. I know that sounds super cliche, but I think the more you you spend time with God, you're able to understand, you know, what he's doing in certain things. I'm a huge testament of that. Like, you know, like I spend time with God, but I'm able to like understand certain things. Am I some spiritual guru? No. Able to put the pieces together based on how things happen. And as we continue on that train of thought, talk to me a little bit about your friendships. You know, do you lean into any friendships that you have for spiritual encouragement? What does that look like for you?
Oh yeah. Man, all the time. All the time. You know, I think it's a very key thing, especially to have people that are like-minded around you. Because when you're down and when you have as many questions as I do, it's really good to have people around you that have views around the same subjects. Like I'm the kind of person, if I don't understand something, like I'm gonna ask and ask and ask and ask about it until I have some sort of grasp that I can kind of move forward with. And so yeah, the friends that I have, I would say are people that I can trust to have their own opinion of who God is. So that if my opinion of him is low at this point, they can kind of have that balance there, you know?
Right.
So
Kind of put the fire in your tire, for lack of a better term there.
Yeah. And I think like we all need that, you know?
Okay. And obviously, you know, we've touched on COVID here and there. Talk to me a little bit about the Sabbath in COVID. Has that evolved for you? Has that changed? What has or had that looked like for you?
Oh yeah, well, you would know better than anybody, Mr. Run Club, you know?
Yeah,
So
man.
yeah, Run Club, shout out to Run Club.
Yeah.
Yeah, Run Club on Saturday mornings, being able to wake up really early and go for a nice jog and be able to fellowship with, you know, socially distanced fellowship with one another, and you know, just being able to enjoy nature and seeing what else there is to do outside of church. It's been an eye opener like crazy. Not that I didn't know it before, but now that we're forced to do it, it's like, man, Sabbath is such a beautiful thing, you know?
Yeah. Sabbath is such a huge key, like from a rest piece and just, you know, slowing down, you know, from that work week. I couldn't envision a scenario without it. And, you know, just to kind of echo your sentiments, you know, we had a run club on Sabbath. That was honestly a blessing, man. You know, like we used to more after than before, you know, just talk about, you know, what God's doing and, you know, just our experiences. You know, shout outs to Kadeen, who was on a couple episodes ago. He's also a part of our run club too. So I'm glad you mentioned that. And my final question for you is, what's the best spiritual advice that your parents have given you? You know, what's the best words of wisdom they've given you in relation to God?
The best, I would say, hands down, my God isn't your God, and your God isn't my God. So figure out who your God is, and stick with him.
Unique experiences, you know, and depending on, you know, what exactly it is you're asking God for. Love that. I want to believe that came from your mom.
Yes, it did. My mom, yeah, for sure, my mom. Yeah.
Shout out to Auntie Wendy. I know you're watching. I know Auntie Wendy's a big fan of myself, big fan of her too as well. So I'm glad that she was able to drop what we call spiritual gems. So definitely appreciate that. Aaron, we're so glad to have you on tonight, man. Creek Convos seems to be where it's at on Friday nights. You know, I've had a lot of my friends on. I'm so glad I was able to have you on to just be really transparent, honest, and open. You know, in your lifestyle, talk a little bit about your musical career and some of the challenges you had there. And of course, being so candid with spirituality. You know, some of the past guests, you know, they're talking about their spiritual life and, you know, how it is just kind of taking off. And you were like, man, this is where I'm at with it. And there's a couple things that I'm still working out. So I appreciate that you didn't come on here and try to, you know, sell us something that's not true, you know, and that's the reality with the relationship with God. It's not always going to be, have that momentum and those rhythms. There's going to be peaks and valleys for a lack of a better expression there. So we're so glad for having you on. One thing I do with every guest that comes on Creek Convos, we do pray. We pray to close. So I'm just going to pray with you now. And again, we just want to thank everyone for hopping on Creek Convos tonight. I hope you've enjoyed the past couple weeks. This was a pleasure to do, and obviously I've been so grateful to spend time with Aaron. So we're just going to pray quickly, and we're going to wish everyone the best Friday evening that they have. And as they transition into the Sabbath, we ask that it is a blessed Sabbath for you all too as well. So let's just pray quickly, Aaron, and then I'm gonna let you go. Dear Heavenly Father, we're so grateful and thankful for your love and your goodness and your grace towards us, dear God. We're thankful for Aaron, who's made the time this evening to really be candid and honest and open about his, you know, his relationship with you, but also, you know, how much of a blessing you've been in his life, dear God, whether it be in his lifestyle and or even in his musical career, dear God. We're thankful that we see your fingerprints in all aspects of that. We ask for a special blessing on him and his family too as well, dear God. And we ask you to be with everybody who took the time tonight to watch this latest episode. We ask for a special blessing on them, dear God. And as we are now in your Sabbath hours, we ask you to bless it and help us to enjoy the Sabbath day and really to be able to understand the goodness that you've given to us, this gift that you've given us of Sabbath rest. So we ask you to be with us now. Forgive us from anything that doesn't reflect our heart and help us to be more like you on a day-to-day basis. Thank you again for what you're doing now. In your name I do pray. Amen. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining Creek Convos, and I will see you guys in another time.
I hope you enjoyed our Creek Conversations. Come join us tomorrow for our Sabbath service. I hope you'll be blessed.
Well, first of all, he would teach them how to be more obedient, loving, and caring towards others. Second of all, he would help them fix anything that was broken in their house. Third of all, and my last way, he would help them unpack any store-bought items or any items at all that they bought.
If Jesus lived in our neighborhood, he would show kindness by doing chores and buy something from the shop for the people. Jesus would will help the neighbors water the grass and take out the garbage and recycling on garbage day.
If Jesus was in my neighborhood, what he will do is that he will tell people that he cares for them and that he will visit them.
I'm kind of getting hungry. Do you have anything to eat?
Pastor, do you think we have time to eat? This is no time to eat.
Yeah,
Forget
right.
your stomach.
You're right.
We have to work.
You're right. Okay. All right. So we have to move on to the next one. You know, we should keep with the caring theme. And you know, the Bible talks about how nature is an example for us and for God's goodness and his mercy. Maybe there's an example in nature that we can look at of how animals can teach us to be caring friends. What do you think?
That sounds really good. You know, there's lots of kids that could do that, but my mind runs to Eunasia. I think Eunasia. She likes animals.
Oh, yes.
I think Eunasia.
And I think she would also do an awesome job.
I think so.
All right. So do you have her number? I don't seem to have it on my phone.
Yes, I have her number.
All right. You give her a shout and see if
Hi, my name is Enasia Christian Foster. God cares for us so much. Not only can we read that all through the Bible, we can also see that in nature. In Romans chapter 1 verse 20, the Bible speaks that God's character is also demonstrated in nature. So what can we find in nature that can teach us about being a good and caring neighbor to others? Well, on your screen is a bird. Not any bird, but the oxpecker bird. This bird is very special. It helps its neighbors in the animal world. How? Well, let's say you are a big hippopotamus or maybe a giraffe that has icky bugs like ticks living on your skin. If you don't do something about those ticks, they can end up causing an infection that could cause sickness or death. Thankfully, for those animals, they have the friendly oxpecker. The oxpecker will land on the animal and eat those dangerous ticks. The oxpecker helps its friends in the animal world by getting rid of the troublesome ticks. But it's also blessed by getting a free meal out of it. But what if you are a crocodile and have a problem with food stuck in your teeth? Who is going to help you out? You might say no one, but you would be wrong. There is the plover bird. This bird helps its crocodile neighbor by flying into its mouth and picking out the food in between the crocodile's teeth. You might think that the crocodile would eat the bird, but it doesn't. It's almost as it knows it's getting a friendly visit from a friendly dentist. So he keeps his mouth open the entire time. We can learn from these birds, especially the plover bird. Sometimes we are scared to help people because of the way how they look. Kind of like an alligator. But Jesus wants us to be good and caring neighbors and help those that are in need, no matter what they look like. So let's remember the lesson God put into nature to remind us to follow Jesus' example and be a kind and caring neighbor. Also remember that when people ask, why are you doing this? That we tell them that we are just sharing the love that Jesus has given us. Thank you.
Wow, that was great. Thanks for Enasia for sending that in. But you know, Sister Annette, I'm still really hungry.
Oh boy, Pastor, if you're that hungry, then I know Summer cooks really well.
Oh, awesome.
Why don't you try Summer?
Okay.
Give Summer a call and let us see what she's doing.
All right.
What she's doing in the kitchen.
Maybe Summer might be able to feed my tummy. All right, Summer, here we go. Oh yes, she said she even has a little menu planned out for me. So let's check this out and see what she can do.
Okay.
This is my dinner prep for adventures. First, I'm going to make soup, and I puree.
So how many courses?
There are 4 courses. And first, I'm going to make soup, and I use squash and sweet corn. And I puree the squash. And I'm going to put it with the corn and some herbs. And this and I'm making toast salad for the second course. And I use lettuce, tomato, and cucumbers. And this is the grilled sandwich and
Grilled salmon?
this grilled salmon and fried rice. Fried veggie rice.
What did you do with the salmon?
I marinated the salmon in pineapple juice for 3 days.
Then you're gonna grill it?
And then I'm gonna grill it.
Okay. So you got.
And then for dessert, I'm going to make vanilla frosty.
Okay. So you're ready for your cooking?
Yes.
All right.
Wow, that food looks so great, but you know, there was a real big problem, Sister Annette.
What's the problem?
It was all virtual. I don't have any food in front of me. I'm still hungry.
Well then, you know what? Let summer feed your soul with music.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. Let's do that.
Every day they pass me by. I can see it in their eyes. Empty people filled with care, headed who knows where. On they go through private pain, living fear to fear. Laughter hides the silent cries. Only Jesus hears. People need the Lord. People need the Lord. At the end of broken dreams, He's the open door. People need the Lord. People need the Lord. When will we realize that people need the Lord? We are called to take His light to a world where wrong seems right. What could be too great a cost for sharing life with one who's lost? To His love our hearts can feel. All grave they bear, they must hear the words of life. Only we can share. People need the Lord. People need the Lord. At the end of broken dreams, He's the open door. People need the Lord. People need the Lord. When will we realize that people need the Lord?
Wow, I was really blessed by that. That's an amazing thing that Summer did. Yeah. But now, to finish off this program, we need to really have a powerful word. And I'm thinking Josiah. Josiah, he's a spirit-filled young man, and I know he'll give us a good message on maybe the Good Samaritan. What do you think?
I think that's perfect.
Yeah. Do you want to try and reach out to him?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
Who is my neighbor? The dictionary defines a neighbor as a person who lives near or next to another, or a person or thing near or next to another. We all have neighbors who we know and some we do not know yet. In the Bible, Jesus encourages us in Luke chapter 10, verse 27, to love the Lord our God with all our heart and with all our soul and with all our strength and with all our mind, and love our neighbor as ourselves. How do we do that? How do we love someone that we may or may not know? Well, the same as we love ourselves. Well, let us consider the story of the Good Samaritan. A man was robbed, beaten, and left for dead by the side of the road. Along came a pastor who, when he saw the man, he crossed the street and kept on walking. Then came the mayor, who this time looked at the beaten man, crossed the street, and kept on walking. Finally, a young adventurer came along and saw the man who needed help. He did not do the same thing the pastor and the mayor did. Instead, the adventurer stopped what he or she was doing and had compassion on the injured man. He bandaged up the man's wounds, put him on his bike, and took the man to the Toronto General Hospital. The man didn't have a health card, so the adventurer used the money they had earned by helping mom and dad at home to pay for the man's care. Today, we call this behavior, random acts of kindness. Matthew chapter 7, verse 12 tells us, "Therefore, all things whatsoever ye would that men do to you, do ye even so for them. For this is the law and the prophets." In other words, Jesus wants us to treat others the way we would like to be treated. Whether we are at home, school, church, or out with our families, we should always do our best to love the person next to us, the same way we love ourselves. So, on a hot summer day, if you are drinking a nice cool glass of water, offer the same to the person next to you. If you know how to tie your shoelaces and you notice your classmate is having trouble tying theirs, offer to help them. If your elderly neighbor is shoveling the snow, offer to do it for them. These are all examples of random acts of kindness that others will appreciate just as you would if it was done to you. In closing, let us learn from the story of the Good Samaritan
and be a kind, compassionate friend and neighbor, because in so doing, we will treat others the way we would want to be treated, which is the golden rule.
Wow, well done, Josiah. You know, I knew he would come through and give a really powerful word. So, are you feeling any better now, Sister Annette?
I'm still feeling a little stressed because we've still got 5 more minutes.
5 more minutes before it goes on?
5 more minutes before it goes on.
All right, now you're stressing me out. Okay. What else do we need?
Well, just the final, the prayer. We have to thank God for everything that he's done.
Okay. We need a really great prayer warrior. Who do you think would be the best prayer warrior?
You know what? Milan
yes.
comes to mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I tell you what, you de-stress. I will reach out to Milan.
Okay.
All right.
Please clasp your hands and close your eyes for prayer. Dear Lord, we thank you as we come to an end of this adventurous program. Please help us to be caring friends to one another. Please bless our teachers and everyone in the world. And their friends, too. Amen.
Wow, Sister Annette, we did it.
Yes, we did.
We managed to get through an entire program.
Yes. The kids did a marvelous job. I'm so proud of them.
Yes, me too. They just did an amazing job for the Lord, showing all of their talents and just glorifying God in what they did.
Yes, they really did.
I'm very happy. Are you less stressed now?
Totally. I am totally less stressed.
You know what? Me too. And you know what? I think this is going to turn out really well.
I think so.
All right.
Thank you all for coming. My name is Annette, and I'm the director of the Apple Creek Rising Stars Adventurer Club. We have approximately 37 children, and we have been working remotely by Zoom. And standing next to me is Pastor Ellis, who is one of the ministers at our church, and he is also the chaplain for the Adventurer Club in Ontario.
Thank you very much, Sister Annette. And you know, we have some amazing adventurers at Apple Creek and right across Ontario. I hope you've been really enjoying these sessions and come and continue to watch. You know, part of the pledge of adventurers is that because Jesus loves me, I will do and always do my best. And that's what our young people do, and you can see that week after week. It's been such a blessing, and I encourage not only the parents, but also all of the leaders, like Sister Annette and all the other and leaders, to continue doing what you're doing, because you're blessing these children, and they will grow up to be strong pillars for God's kingdom. So have a great night, and we look forward to when we can see you again soon.
Good night.